So there hasn't been a Smash Ultimate Moaning tier list, and I wanted to change that. There's a lot of talk about patch notes for character frame data with moves and damage buffs and debuffs, but there are some overpowered moans that are sliding under the rug unnoticed. There's a ridiculous amount of characters in Smash, so I'll probably split this into several parts. But let's get straight into it. Balls deep, no contraception, pure unadulterated smackdown. First up on the tier list is Mario. Mario's moans have excellent pitch and well-rounded timbre. You can really feel the airy and buttery sensation that these moans are trying to achieve. The spatial location is brilliant, a wonderful cognitive placement of a moan in my environment. The root mean square of Mario's moaning sound pressure is marvelous. Mario's moans have relatively good knockback and damage output, especially when it sweet spots your inner cochlea. Mario, B tier. Prepare to get wet and have liquid oozing out of every orifice in your body because Donkey Kong is next, and boy does he pack some schmeat. The sonic texture in Donkey Kong's moans is downright divine. These moans are the audio equivalent to ambrosia. If you listen to these moans long enough, you will achieve longevity and mortality, similar to what the Greek gods hope to achieve. Donkey Kong is like William Penn, who in the 17th century founded Pennsylvania as a refuge for his fellow Quakers, but instead of guaranteeing a representative assembly and full religious freedom, Donkey Kong is guaranteeing full acoustic freedom. Donkey Kong, S tier. Link is up next, and this is a sausage you don't want to mess with. Link provides an excellent, juicy, and robust moaning flavor to the table. These moans have some earthiness like a fine-aged wine that's been sitting in the wine cellar for centuries, which was then blessed by Zamorak RuneScape Mage who has 99 magic and 99 cooking. The way Link's moans fluctuate in timbre fills me up with glee. The loudness is satisfyingly delicious and not too overpowering like the untimely smelly queef that upsets your stomach. No, this is a moan that alleviates stress. A de-stressor that rivals hentai, anime, and video games. Link, A tier. Yoshi's moans have attractive loudness, but the pitch is draconian. The acoustic velocity and particle acceleration on the audio wavelengths are a bit overpowering. The acoustic power is drowning. I feel like I'm being cock and ball tortured because of the sound flux that emanates from the sine waves of Yoshi's moans. There's a large amount of watts being outputted by Yoshi's orifice, and I don't think my tympanic membranes can handle the power of the sound force. Yoshi, D tier. Kirby's moans also have juiced up pitch. It's like Kirby took a page out of the Instagram steroid influencer notebook, where instead of injecting itself with a syringe full of steroids, there's a statistically significant dose of pitch and sound intensity. The particle displacement is not bad per se, it's just not as prominent or robust as it could possibly be. The sound energy and sound exposure do combine together quite nicely. The acoustic impedance of this moan does provide a nice acidic flavor that not only sharpens the moans but makes it a bit tart, which is enjoyable. Kirby, C tier. Fox pounces in with exceptional frame data in his moans that would make his Kennedy ancestors proud. The monophyletic moans produced by Fox are not only cunning, but omnivorous as well. Fox has very little end lag on his moans, and they are safe on your opponent's shield. Fox also has a frame 1 moan out of shield that can kill past 100% on most characters, so as soon as someone touches Fox's shield, they're instantly deleted by his moans. Fox, B tier. Pikachu's moans are similar to John Locke in the 1600s, who followed Newton's natural law, except the Enlightenment is a bit different here. Instead of the rights of life, liberty, and property being protected, the rights of sound intensity, sound power, and acoustic impedance are protected by Pikachu's assertion of moaning law. Pikachu's influence helped inspire the theory of monology, and became an indirect theory of moaning activity for leaders like Benjamin Franklin-sama. Pikachu, B tier. I don't know how Luigi does it, but Luigi sautés his moans with an unbelievably perfect amount of fat. His moans are ridiculously zesty and creamy, providing an exuberant source of calcium that is not only nutritious, but vivid. Luigi's moans have amazing timbre and sonic texture. They're almost something you'd only experience after taking ayahuasca or having a lucid dream. It's like Luigi enacted his own version of the Navigation Acts, which in 1650 enumerated goods from the colonies, but instead of sugar, cotton, and tobacco being provided to him, it's sound pressure, loudness, and duration. Luigi, A tier. Ness must be a master chef that studied at Cordon Bleu. because his moans are braised to a precise seared crispy exterior with tender interior sonic texture. The sound energy that emits from Ness's moans are stronger than his fully charged PK freeze. If you thought Ness had good aerial movement and jump height, his moans can be auto-cancelled. Ness's loudness and duration allows for his moans to be more spammable than his PK fire. Ness, A tier. Just like Bacon's rebellion in 1676, Captain Falcon's moans pack quite the punch. Captain Falcon is angered by Governor Berkeley's inability to produce a good moan. Therefore, Captain Falcon initiated 2 unauthorized timbre fluctuations. He set fire to Jamestown with his acoustic velocity and pitch, jab-locking the royal governor. After Captain Falcon's moaning rebellion, American colonies turned increasingly away from indentured timbre to acoustic labor. Captain Falcon, B tier. Jigglypuff's moans are like New Hampshire, the corporate colony established in 1677, as Jigglypuff's moans are also economically dependent on Massachusetts. The sound exposure here is otherworldly, and the transmission loss is very minimal, practically minuscule. The sound flux in Jigglypuff's moans is tremendous and brings me to tears. These moans have the perfect amount of decibels and are omnidirectional. The particle velocity and sound density are exquisite. Jigglypuff, A tier. Finally, a tier list where Peach isn't completely broken. Peach has overpowered aerials, floating ability, turnips that can also be bombs, and Mr. Saturn. Combos out of grabs. But thank God she doesn't have a completely broken moan. That would be far too much. Peach's moans still have decent knockback, making it a good combo starter. If you get grabbed by Peach at low percents, you'll probably receive a healthy dose of moan combos, and then you're suddenly at 70% and you lost neutral. Because of the rich amount of timbre fluctuations and particle velocity, Peach's moans have a fast startup and apply pretty good shield damage. Peach does lack a little bit in sonic texture and spatial location, however. The amount of pascals of sound pressure from these moans are a bit low. Peach, C tier. The Echo Fighter of Peach, Daisy, inherits Peach's moveset but not her moans. Daisy's moans are staccato in nature, which is unfortunate because that's one of the 8 deadly sins, akin to the Glorious Revolution of 1688. Daisy is promoting the growth of colonial institutions and culture, except not the good kind of moans. These moans lack safety and don't have reliable follow-ups. Daisy's moans have decent end lag and can be juggled when in disadvantage. The amount of sour spots in the sinusoidal wavelengths of these moans is ridiculous. Daisy, D tier. One of the deadliest moaners on this planet, Bowser provides one of the most jaw-dropping collections of ear-splitting, dendrite-destroying, succulent moans in our galaxy. Timbre is Bowser's middle name. There isn't a scientific unit that can describe the amount of sound intensity or particle displacement in these moans. The sheer amount of reverberation in these audio delicacies defies psychoacoustics as a field. Scientists around the world are absolutely perplexed at the insurmountable amount of reverb that these moans contain. These moans sound like something majestic that would come out of an Area 51 alien lab. Every single one of Bowser's moans sounds like a Hans Zimmer symphonic masterpiece that's been dipped in gold and then blanched in Dionysus tears. Bowser, S tier. Ice Climbers, the Popo and Nana duo, have unsatisfactory moans. Perhaps their parkas are on too tight or something, or they have immense pain from all the mountain scaling they do. Their moans are reminiscent of the Halfway Covenant in the 1690s, but instead of the decline of the piety and zeal, these moans declined in sonic texture and timbre. Maybe their wooden mallets are preventing the moans from reaching their full potential. Like the cellulose fibers have too strong of tension and are interrupting the ultrasound waves of the moans. The octaves and chroma of these moans are not eliciting an emotional reaction from me, and although that might be due to my auditory cortex, I concur that this is not the case. Ice Climbers, E tier. Sheik's moans make it easy to identify the combination of spatial location and timbre identification due to the loudness and duration. The theta wave cycles of these moans gyrate better than an LG Signature Smart Wi-Fi ventless washer and dryer with steam cycle enabled. The sound magnitude provided by these moans cannot be measured in fons, which is the logarithmic unit for loudness of tones and complex sounds, a first in science history. These moans are more overpowered than the Salem witch trials in 1692. In fact, if Sheik was born in the Salem village, the villagers would have claimed to be tormented by the occult activities of Sheik's moans. Sheik would have been executed, and the Crucible would have drastic differences in its literature and telling of the Salem witch trials, to include Sheik's demonically powerful moaning. Sheik, A tier. Zelda is a pretty slow character with sluggish walking speed, slow dashing speed, and low aerial acceleration, but her moans are a different story. Zelda's moans are disjointed and have quick startup that can kill at relatively low percentages. The sonar waves of these moans have excellent sound propagation, and the sound impedance is exquisite, analogous to the Wool Act of 1699, where all wool that was produced in the colonies could only be exported to Britain. All timbre fluctuations occurring here are exported to the listener's basilar membrane. Zelda, B tier. Dr. Mario is not the doctor you're thinking of. Nope, not an obstetrician gynecologist of dreams, but a monologist specializing in monology. After intensive study of postgraduate training programs and completing medical school, as well as a 4-year residency at Harvard Institute of Monology, Dr. Mario subspecializes in specific areas including timbre and pitch. Menopausal and geriatric monology is an easy chore for Dr. Mario here. He can conduct pelvic acoustic surgery or reproductive endocrine monology surgery with his eyes closed. This is someone who's mastered the art of moaning and is one of the leading magnates of monology. Dr. Mario, S tier. Pichu, the rodent that could. Comparable to the tale of Despero, Pichu embarks on a journey, except instead of spending its days reading books and trying to rescue a princess from a dungeon, Pichu spends its days studying monology. Much like the Enlightenment in the 1700s, Pichu's moans connect the idea of deism and bakes it together with monology. Some important Enlightenment writers such as Isaac Newton, John Locke, and René Descartes, but it looks like historians left out a prominent influencer of intellectualism, Pichu. Pichu's moans are a prime example of why human reason is adequate enough to solve mankind's problems, and that acoustic velocity and timbre fluctuations is all that you need. As René Descartes once said, I think, therefore I moan. Pichu, A tier. The warm-blooded vertebrate Falco has a unique voice box that graces the ears that are blessed with enough RNG to be able to witness it in action. Falco's avian moaning has a high metabolic rate that is passerine and flocking in nature. It's no wonder birds are feathered theropod, dinosaurs, and are considered reptiles in the modern cladistic sense of the term, because these moans are as thunderous and towering as the Tyrannosaurus rex. It seems that modern birds, Neornithes, evolved their moaning traits and were able to pass on the pitch and loudness genes to offspring in the middle to late Cretaceous, which then diversified dramatically around the time of the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, which occurred 66 million years ago. Luckily, Falco is one of the surviving offspring that still moans to this day. Falco, B tier. Brandishing a long blade with a moist gripping hilt with a pointed tip, Marth's moans come piercing into the soul. Mastering the art of timbre and sound power must have been one of the many epics of Marth's time in the universe. His moans are spaced out really well and can land tippers to your tympanic membrane, dealing a shit ton of knockback and damage to your cochlea. Marth's moans come out within 2 frames and has fast startup as well as intangibility. It's extremely hard to punish Marth's moans as there's very little end lag. The particle acceleration of Marth's moans are very rapid and loud, probably 80 decibels, nay 90 plus decibels, equivalent to a Boeing 737 engine just inseminating your eardrums with intense pascals of sound pressure. Marth, A tier. Lucina menstruates her way into this tier list with an absolute banger lineup of moans. These moans smack harder than a McDonald's Sprite laced with Colombian whites. Just like a hardened fallopian tube, these moans are critical to the moaning infrastructure of the world. These moans do more shield damage than Lucina's neutral bee at its full charge. Akin to John Peter Zinger, the German-American newspaper publisher and printer, whose acquittal of libel charges in 1735 established a legal precedent for freedom of the press, Lucina's ethereal timbre fluctuations established a legal precedent for freedom of the moans. Lucina, S tier. Young Link. I'm sensing some strong Boku no Pico vibes here. I do not have any plans to meet Chris Hansen anytime soon, so I'll just say that Young Link is a wholesome species of primate that is very wholesome. Young Link, C tier for wholesome. Prepare to have your anal sphincters explode because Ganondorf is coming for you. Ganondorf's moans can edgeguard you from across the map. These moans have perfect frequency and just the right amount of amplitude. If you try to calculate the speed of Ganondorf's moans using the Newton-Laplace equation, your fingers would probably start melting due to the flawless sound energy that these moans produce. These moans probably have the power to awaken the dead. Listening to Ganondorf's moans is like experiencing the first great awakening, where Ganondorf is the deity and he is blessing our ear canals with holy elixir in the form of these audio wavelengths. Move over, George Whitefield and Jonathan Edwards. You stand no chance against this almighty, dynamic moaning connoisseur, Ganondorf. Ganondorf. S tier. And that's the Smash Ultimate moaning tier list so far. There's a shit ton of characters left, but my mitochondrion have reached their limits. So yeah, this is the Smash Ultimate moaning tier list.